We've all seen arguments get pretty heated online. But what happens when all that digital anger doesn't just stay behind the screen? This is the story of how a few words on social media spiraled into a real world tragedy. And it forces us to ask, just how thin is that line really? It sounds almost unbelievable, right? But that's the question at the very heart of this case. We're going to break down exactly how a simple Instagram story, the kind of thing millions of us post every single day, became the trigger for a fatal attack. So, this all went down in the city of Ahmedabad. An argument that literally started with a tap on a screen ended in a violent confrontation on the street with consequences that nobody can ever take back. Okay, let's dive in. Section 1, a digital dare. It all started with one single post that basically lit the fuse. Do what you can. This was the challenge the victim, Salik, posted on his Instagram. It was essentially a digital dare. And on that fatal night, his rivals apparently threw those exact words right back in his face. And just look at who was involved here. The victim, Mohammed Salik Sheikh, he was only 19. And the accused? Barely any older. So you see, this isn't just one tragedy. It's a story about a whole group of young men whose lives were completely shattered in a single night. All right, Section 2, the fatal confrontation. Now we're going to see how this fight jumped from the phone to the street, escalating from just words to actual physical violence. This timeline shows just how frighteningly fast it all happened. At 10:30 p.m., the argument starts. Just moments later, one of the accused, Rehan, allegedly grabs Salik. Then, the stabbing. And in the middle of all that chaos, another friend gets attacked. It was just a rapid, violent, and ultimately deadly chain of events. Which brings us to Section 3, a life cut short. We're talking about the final, irreversible consequences here. In just a few moments, a line was crossed that could never, ever be uncrossed. And it all came down to this, a single stab wound to his right side. That one action was enough to end a life. It's just a brutal, chilling reminder of the finality of violence. 19. Just think about that for a second. That was Mohammed Salik's age. A whole life ahead of him, gone. All because of an argument that started on social media. So, Section 4, the aftermath. Once the violence ended, the investigation immediately began. The search for justice and, of course, the search for answers. And here's the other side of that coin, because while one young life was lost, 3 other young lives were also changed forever. 3 arrests were made, with each person facing a charge of murder. The accused are Rehan, Faisal Patan, and Faizan Patan, all from the same neighborhood in Ahmedabad, and all of them are now in custody. And you can see how the investigation loops right back to where it all began, that Instagram post. Police are literally searching through Salik's digital archives to find the original dare. It's now a key piece of evidence in a case that started with a single click. So, finally, Section 5, words have consequences. What does this all mean? Well, a story like this forces us to take a hard look at that incredibly blurred line between our online lives and our offline reality. This isn't just some isolated story. It's a tragic, powerful reminder that the line between an online argument and real-world violence can be paper thin. What you type on a screen doesn't always stay there. And that really leaves us with this one question. Where does online bravado end, and where does real-world violence actually begin? After a story like this, I think that's a question we all have to take a lot more seriously.